And so we've covered this part up to the Charles Schwab Wells Fargo. Was that contagion from Silicon Valley Bank failure, or was it a coincidence, or was it something else? Well, here's where it really gets interesting for me. Let's start here. JP Morgan must hand over CEO Jamie Dimon's records in Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit. Boom. Okay, let me explain. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Jeffrey Epstein ran a lot of his operation and had his big island compound on Little St. James Island, the prosecutor there had brought lawsuits starting a couple of years ago, and she won them. She won one against the estate, and she won one against Deutsche Bank. I'll look at those briefly in a second. And it turns out that other bank managers and other banks were on her radar. JP Morgan was one of them. And they were fighting it, of course. They said, no, we don't have anything to do with this, with Jeffrey Epstein or any of the stuff he was doing. But on March 9th, a judge in New York ruled that JP Morgan does have to turn over documents in this lawsuit. March 9th, the same day that Peter Thiel's Founders Fund said, hey, you guys might want to get your money out of Silicon Valley Bank. Same day that judgment came down. Okay, interesting. And it was the next day that the bank run happened. It was starting that night and the next day, and the Silicon Valley Bank was closed. Why is this related? Because in a very little covered development from 2020, we see that Virgin Islands prosecutor added names to the list to at least 10 financial institutions. Okay, on that lawsuit, she added at least 10 financial institutions and more than 30 corporations, trusts, and nonprofit entities that she thought were connected to the human trafficking operation. She said, Epstein, through and in association with defendants, trafficked, raped, sexually assaulted, and held captive underage girls and young women at his properties in the Virgin Islands. Boom. This is on ABC News Radio. The article is tucked away. It's pretty hard to come across. It's from July 28th, 2020. And look at who is involved. Check this out. JP Morgan Chase and Citibank. Fidelity Investments, Charles Schwab. Didn't we just mention Charles Schwab? Bank Leumi, which is an Israeli bank. Wells Fargo, Northern Trust, and Silicon Valley Bank. Boom, 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 boom. Connected back to prosecutions against Jeffrey Epstein, against the partner entity